Hello and welcome back. Moving on to our next candidate, Aaron, on the chess.com bot. Probably should have done a better introduction, but I'm just going to jump straight into the game. I'm sure you guys don't want to hear me talk anymore. So, Aron-Bot is rated 700. So, Aaron started with this move. I think this is pretty passive and don't really recommend people doing this. This isn't even how the cow is supposed to play, so if you watch Anna Kramling's content, it was actually her birthday yesterday. If you watch Anna Kramling's content, and I do, she's got this opening called the cow, but it's not the most aggressive opening, so a lot of people don't like to play it. I will play it on occasion. I might probably play it on stream at some point. I think that could be fun. But I played principally and moved e5, king's pawn opening. Moved the bishop out. I don't think this is a good move because it blocks in this bishop. It blocks in this pawn from ever moving. You know, he can't really fight for the center this way. Also, you know, like the king doesn't. This bishop can't get out. It's gonna take a while. You know, in the beginning, you want to try to get your king to safety and get all your pieces to their most optimal squares, and that square is not optimal for that bishop. So 2 pawns in the center, principled. He shoots out this pawn. So I know that pro players do this. They can do this, and this is like opening theory for something, but I did not see what the threat would be in any specific situation for this. I saw free pawn, so I took free pawn. So he launches out on the other side of the board. I think the idea was, you know, he was relying on this check. So if I were to take, he could snap back. No, I mean, then I would just develop a knight, but he could still get it here. Not that that was, you know, any sort of problem for me. I didn't want to take because this doesn't help my position at all, and you know, I said just well, maybe I should just left the bishop there, you know. Maybe I should have considered taking if he took. I didn't want to go for a queen trade, because what would happen if I had taken this way? He didn't have to. He could have checked me first, and then if I had blocked, he could have just. And it would still be a trade, but then this bishop would be here. I don't know. So I just said, you know, no, you can't do that. You can't keep your bishop here. So he brings the bishop back, you know, wastes the tempo. And this is why I was just it's not the optimal square, you know. So I get to check him now. And the reason I checked him, well, I mean, it's either he moves the bishop back, you know, and then we trade, which isn't so bad for me, I guess. This isn't a threat because the knight always can come to guard, and that's something that you always need to be looking out for whenever you're playing. If you ever do one of these lateral checks, you always have to look out for counter checks. So if you are missing a knight or something, you know, you gotta be careful. And the same can be true because if you need to watch out for board vision, because if you know, there wasn't so much going on here, you know, this bishop would be a threat too, and there's nothing. Well, I mean, it comes back, so it's not really that. But that's not this position, so you don't need to worry about that. So I reinforced my bishop. I'm trying to play relatively aggressively, you know, trying to keep the pressure on his position. If takes, then I clamp down on the center, and he can't really do this. I can allow him to take because there's that at a certain point. This, I don't know what this does. This does nothing. This does nothing at all. So develop a knight to the center of the board. Get ready to castle. I didn't see if there was any sort of follow-up to this. I considered, like, you know, doing this. I could get the knight here, but the knight doesn't really have any prospects, and the knight can get booted. And I was expecting it to get booted, and if it get booted, then I would trade, no problem. So, and like I said, if he provoked me to move, then I would trade. And usually that's how I play chess, you know. If you're not provoked to do something, you know, hold off on it. Unless it's, like, super strong, then, you know, don't hesitate. Chess is hard because, you know, there's always, like, a lot of good advice, and you don't remember which advice you should be taking at any specific moment. Well, that applies to me anyway. So, I guess he's carving out the square for this knight. So, queen is now attacking this. This is not an attack. I also didn't want his bishop to ever get to here and, you know, put pressure on this diagonal. So I decided to take control of this diagonal immediately before my opponent could. Misses that was hanging entirely. I mean, I didn't want this to happen, which is what I was concerned about, I guess. So that's why this took priority over this. And if this, you know, I could just move, and I think that actually happens in the game. So his knight is hanging, so I just picked up the knight. So he's attacking my rook. So I had a decision to make over here or here, and I considered if I move the rook here, and then he moved his rook here, then this would be protected. I was a bit concerned that he moves his rook here, and so takes and makes a queen and, you know, mates. But the thing is, I don't have to move the rook. So even if his rook gets here, it can't do anything, you know. It can take, I can take, and then this guy is still stuck here, and the knight is doing a job. So I'm trying to figure out how to put more pressure on his position here. I wasn't sure how to do that. You know, there's this, but it's protected by the knight. So, what did I end up doing? Well, I mean, obviously I have to deal with the rook first. So rook lift, trying to get the rook from here to here. Well, actually, trying to get the rook from here to here to here. Put more so he takes the pawn, but, you know, not all pawns are created equal. Sorry, Charlie. So, now that he took that, which is something that I did consider, I can develop the knight with tempo, try to get it to here. That was an idea here. What was the idea? Well, I was thinking that I could sack here, and if takes, and then, right now the king is, like, in a coffin, so if I could get a pawn here, then I could mate him here, unless he moved the knight somewhere. Which was one of the things that I was trying. Oh well, no, it doesn't. That was the point. So if the knight gets here, 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 even if it moves, it would still be made because my pawn, which would have been here, would be controlling both of these squares. So I probably should have done that immediately, but I didn't. Why didn't I do that? I mean, it was like a super strong move, but when all load. Okay, perhaps that's what it was. I don't know why I didn't do this immediately, because it's even stronger because it attacks this and this, but I wasn't too concerned about materials, really concerned about this. So he does this. I probably should have done that on the last move, but I didn't. To be perfectly honest with you, I did not even notice that my rook was hanging there. But now that the knight's here, even if he doesn't take, it's still made because I've got. It's not made because he's got this square. So he's asking my bishop to move, but the queen is worth more, and if king takes, queen takes with check. So the knight is protecting the queen. If the king goes, and I pick up this piece, I'm just like barreling into his. He didn't even take. So the queen protects the knight. Move the knight to safety. Trying to get this square, I think, but that allows that. I'm trying to figure out how to mate this guy, but he just takes it. It's all fine. So I'm protecting the pawn, trying to like cut off his like exit squares. This reinforces the pawn. This attacks. I was thinking that I could do this, but then he takes. I was allowing him to take this because then I would be able to check him and also build another queen, which I did. 2 queens to the board. So now it's just a matter of cutting off all of his squares and mating him. Alright, so let's look at the game review. What could I have done better? Oh, well, actually, I'm going to close. No, it's fine. So I played at 1550 at an 82% accuracy. Let's start the review. So, that's a book mower. D3 ignores the fundamental opening principle of controlling the center. You hear that? Just don't do that. So, E5, Bishop E3, not a good move. It's an accuracy. D5, best move. G4, sacks a pawn. Bishop takes on G4. C4. And this was the best move. Alright, so D4 kicks the bishop. Bishop C1. Bishop B4 check. Which was an excellent move, but developing the knight might have been better. It's an excellent move, but retreating the bishop might have been better. Develop the knight. Knight f6. He attacks my bishop. I'm provoked. Thinks that I should really keep the bishop on the board, huh? Alright, he takes, develops with tempo. I mean, I guess. If I had brought it back, then his bishop would have no prospects. His knight would, yeah, I see it. So it would cause him more problems, you know. And when playing chess, you don't want to try to solve your opponent's problems. You want to create as many problems as you can for your opponent. You want to stop their plans. You want to be as irritating and annoying as you can. So castles. Wasn't even the best move, probably because it ran into this. I don't see what this move does at all. You know, it didn't feel like it did enough. And then he sacks. That doesn't do anything. What was I concerned about? I mean, the knight could have moved. Oh. The knight could have... I didn't want, like, the knight to... Well, I mean, the knight still has that, I suppose. I mean, I guess that was fine, but I wasn't too concerned about this. Best move. Didn't like that. Wanted me to do this. But I was just like, where's the follow-up? You know, except for that. And I wanted to get... I had that idea in mind. So he takes. Best move. Getting my... I wasn't really attacking the rook. You know, when playing chess, you want to try to... Don't telegraph where the pieces are going. So if you hide it, like this was a secret plan of mine. But on the surface, it just looked like it was attacking this piece. But the plan was always to move the knight. I probably wouldn't have played this if it was just like, you know, if the rook was just there, unless I needed the rook to move for one specific reason. So it was just to actually get the knight there. So he brings the knight back. Didn't even like this move. I think it was still pretty strong, but then he would have like this defending at a certain point. So even if I did like here, 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 then he would have this, which defends both of them. And also defends the knight. Why would I do this? It attacks the queen. I mean, he could sack it, and here he would probably have sacked it. You know, whatever. But I couldn't figure out where my follow-up mating idea was. So, he plays this. It wasn't even the best move, huh? Wanted to put it here. I mean, I think the idea was to try to, like, defend mate. Well, I mean, this also would defend mate. And takes, and I couldn't take back. So I guess that's fine. But, what if... Wait, what? So, interesting. Taking first was better. And this knight gets in. I'm not entirely sure what the follow-up is there. So, if I had taken... well, I mean, king can't take back, so this would have to take back, and I don't really have a follow-up, so I guess... Wait, no, that's not happening. This is what happens. No, wait, no. He wanted to move the knight there. Then what do I do? I mean, I could take, which would give him some breathing room, I guess. Not sure. I didn't see this in the game at all. I didn't see that my rook was being attacked. So apparently this wasn't even... This dude's like, what do you mean? Takes. Why? I take back. I'm threatening mate. Like, what are you gonna do? Oh. I missed a mating idea. King moves here. Yeah. Okay. And so there was a mating idea, but I missed it. And this is why I do game reviews. It was too materialistic here. Sacks tonight. It's too fancy. That was a miss. King is trapped. This is still mate, I see. And he didn't have this. I think I saw the same idea. Except I moved the knight to the wrong square. So, I made the game longer than it needed to be. My technique was a bit off. But still won it. Man, this is why we do game reviews. Alright. Well, if you like this video, please leave me a like, and man, I need to get better at saying this. Please like and subscribe. Until the next one, later.